Hey, what's up? Welcome or welcome back. If you're new, my name is Lena, aka FrumpyFit. I'm an online weight loss coach who's dedicated to calling out all the BS in the fitness industry and providing you with accurate fitness, nutrition, and weight loss information. Today, we are talking all about fitness trackers and more specifically, because I'm a weight loss coach, how they can really mess you up on your weight loss journey. But then also at the end, we'll cover like how to use them the right way if you do want to incorporate it. Before we jump into that though, this video is sponsored by Built Bar, and I finally, guys, got my hands on the restock of their puffs. Where do I even begin? Obviously, I love the regular Built Bars, the nougaty, chewy, like chocolatey goodness, but there is a part of me that loves these more. And I'll tell you why. I'm a marshmallow fiend. Sometimes when I'm at the grocery store, I'll just buy a bag of marshmallows to keep in my pantry, and I'll just like pop a marshmallow every once in a while. Like, I love marshmallows. And that's what these are made out of. So it's the chocolate coating, real chocolate with a marshmallow center. And it's not just regular marshmallow, it's flavored marshmallow. So this one is coconut. You already know it's my fave. This one is banana cream pie. And this one is churro. The churro one's fairly light, like the churro-y taste, the cinnamon taste is kind of light. Banana cream pie does have a strong banana taste, and then just, you cannot go wrong. You can't go wrong with coconut. And aside from my obsession with marshmallows and like the fact that anything marshmallow will win me over, I do kind of prefer these over the regular Built Bars because they're lighter. The regular Built Bars are like really dense. So if you're having like a intense craving for like a thick candy bar, the regular Built Bars are great, but I tend to prefer something lighter and just less dense overall. Like normally when I eat a Built Bar, I eat like half at a time because it is really dense. With these, a whole one is perfect. This is like 40 grams total weight in comparison to like a Built Bar, which is like 58 grams. I had to grab one and check. Yeah, this peanut butter brownie Built Bar is 58 grams. These are 40 grams. And the comparison of calories and protein are the same, just amazing ratio as these. So like this flavor in particular is 180 calories, 19 grams of protein. All of these puffs are 140 calories and 17 grams of protein for a chocolate covered marshmallow. I'm gonna put a clip on the screen right now so you can see what the inside of it looks like, but I'm just telling you right now, you gotta try these. So if you wanna do that, I recommend getting a variety pack of puffs. You can do so using the link in my description and use this discount code to get you 15% off. Thanks Built for sponsoring this video. Okay, so first reason why, and actually by the way, this is a Fitbit Sense. I got it about a month ago. I'm testing it out. I also had an Oura ring. So you may have noticed in the last few videos, like I was wearing this and maybe also wearing an Oura ring. I've been testing them. I'm gonna do a comparison video between the two soonish. But the fact that I bought them for myself, I was like, okay, I feel like I gotta talk about this because people make so many mistakes when it comes to using these kinds of things. It's not all bad, but can be very bad. So the first thing is that they are inaccurate. Okay, I think I've been seeing some stuff saying that like these trackers this is not a person. Trackers that are estimating how many calories you're burning every day. Like if you were to track a workout, let's say, it can overestimate your calories by like 50%, which is kind of a lot. And just aside from like the calorie thing, it's just not going to be accurate. You can't expect this little device that you wear to just be accurate about everything. So if you are utilizing this as a tool and acting like it's accurate, that can throw you off. Like if you're using this to say, oh, I burned this many calories today, so this is how much I'm gonna eat, like to make sure that you're in the right deficit every single day, that's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be accurate. Even though you would think that this is like more accurate than like calculating your calories on some calorie calculator website, like the way that I do it in this video, you would think that this would be a little bit more accurate because it's tracking your daily like movement and all that stuff, but it's probably not. I also have just noticed personally when I was comparing this and the Oura ring specifically, the discrepancy between the numbers that they were giving me, because I have a spreadsheet and I've been comparing like how it's tracking different metrics, and the difference got larger the more active I was that day. So to me, that points to the fact that the more active you are, meaning like if you do a workout and this is tracking your workout, the more inaccurate it's gonna be versus just if you were sedentary and it's basing this number primarily off of your BMR. And that's because they're probably using an equation like I did in this video, to calculate your BMR in the first place. There's just a lot that can go into why this is not going to be accurate. So do not base how much calories you're consuming off of what this is telling you. And that kind of brings me to my next point, which if you are doing that, you're essentially chasing a moving target, which can be very, very stressful. And so I guess these specific ones are a little bit more relevant to somebody who is tracking their calories. If you are trying to be in a certain deficit every day of the week or whatever, however you're like tracking your calories, you are essentially chasing something that is moving, and calorie tracking is already hard enough. It's already stressful enough. So like you're essentially just making it harder for yourself to chase a moving target. To the first point though, even if you aren't tracking calories, but you're using the amount of calories you burn as like a very general gauge of how like flexible you can be, that's where you can also get into trouble. So if you like do a workout and it's like you burned like 800 calories during this workout, you probably didn't. And then you might that weekend be like, oh, I killed my workouts this week. Like I'm gonna be a little bit more flexible or less strict with myself. Not saying you have to be strict, but this is a mindset that you can get into of like, oh, I burned like way more calories than I intended to, so I'm gonna eat more because I can. So just avoid at all costs figuring out how many calories you should eat or how much you should eat, whether you're tracking or not, based on this number. And so back to the moving target thing, what I recommend, and I talk about that I think in the calorie calculating video, but I think more so in the calorie deficit video, I personally recommend calculating your calories, but then coming up with a range instead of an exact number that you have to hit. So my concern for those of you who are using some sort of fitness tracker is you see how many, like you're eating and then you're checking your watch and then you're eating, or your ring, and then you're checking your thing and then you're checking how many calories you're eating, and you're just like going back and forth to make sure that because this isn't gonna stop tracking your calories until it hits midnight for that day. So you're really gonna go back and forth, like making sure that like you're keeping up with the amount of calories that you're burning during the day. But my recommendation, like I was saying, is to get a calorie range, because even if you're not chasing a moving target, chasing a very specific static target, like let's say your calorie goal is like 1800, are you really gonna like try to hit that exactly every single day, especially for women, when throughout the month our appetite will change based on our cycle? Also, like it will change based on how much activity you're doing. Hitting a static target is also just not helpful. It's a little less stressful than chasing a moving target, but it's just also not helpful or necessary. So I recommend having a range. Your calorie range is maybe like 100 or 200 calories you get to play with, but everything within that range is in a calorie deficit for you on average for the week based on what you've calculated. So you know, no matter where you fall within that 100 or 200 range, you're still in a deficit. It may slightly impact your rate of weight loss over time, but you can always adjust. So you can slide that range down a little bit more if your rate of weight loss is slower than you wanted. So that's like my recommendation. But as far as the moving target thing goes, I also want to point out a really interesting difference that I'll cover in my Fitbit Sense versus Oura Ring video, is that these trackers were displaying calories in a slightly different way. So the Oura Ring was fronting your calories according to your BMR. So let's say your BMR is 1500. When you wake up in the morning, your Oura Ring would say you already burned 1500 because it knew you were automatically going to burn that much throughout the day. And then it was just adding on your active calories as the day went on. Versus Fitbit is not fronting your calories like that. This is my assumption just based off of my observation of the data. Fitbit is kind of adding in your BMR calories as you actually use them throughout the day. And of course that's not gonna be accurate, but it's just not like front loading all of them. So for Fitbit, when I wake up, it's just showing me the amount of calories I burned while I was sleeping rather than what I'm gonna burn for that entire 24-hour period. I hope that makes sense. I'll get into more detail in that comparison video that will be coming up soon. So if you're chasing a moving target based on how the app from whatever device you're using is displaying the data, your moving target could be completely different depending on what device you're using. So if I wake up and see that I've only burned 500 calories for the day, or I think mine's closer to 600, I don't really know. The numbers aren't important, but I might say like, oh man, like I haven't burned very much calories today. I should have a smaller breakfast to make sure that I'm like in a deficit just in case I don't burn as many calories today or not. Versus the Oura, you wake up and you've burned like 1500 calories according to the way that they present the data, and you're like, oh, like I can go crazy today. I'm burning calories like crazy and I haven't even done anything. I just woke up. Another interesting comparison is when I would track a workout with Fitbit versus Oura, the numbers would be very different. And I think part of that was because Oura was fronting your BMR calories versus Fitbit was adding it in throughout the day. So I think my workout calories from Fitbit was also including BMR calories versus Oura, which was only including active calories in that workout. So that was, I think, the reason for a big discrepancy between like tracked workout calories. And so this brings me to another important reason why your fitness tracker could be throwing off if you are counting your calories or even just aware of your calories, is there is a potential for you double counting calories. So let's say that you used my video or this type of method for calculating your calories, which you find out what your BMR is and then you multiply it by your activity. And then let's say you're using a fitness tracker and you have it connected to MyFitnessPal, and MyFitnessPal is like, do you want to add your exercise calories back in? Because MyFitnessPal likes to do that, and we always say no to that. We don't want to add our exercise calories back in, and it does it automatically sometimes. So I just ignore, like back when I was calorie tracking, I would just completely ignore the recommendation that MyFitnessPal gives you, because it's like 100% wrong. I know. I've never ever seen in years an accurate recommendation from MyFitnessPal for how many calories you should be eating. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. If you were to calculate your calories like how I do in this video, you are adding the calories you burn through exercise when you account for your daily activity. And then if you're going throughout your day, like let's say you set your calorie goal of MyFitnessPal to whatever that goal was that you calculated, and then MyFitnessPal is like, let's add your exercise calories to this. You're double counting your active calories because you already accounted for that when you calculated your calories in the first place. And then when it comes to like Oura versus Fitbit, how one is tracking only active calories and the other one is accounting for calories. And this is just an assumption. This is not guaranteed fact. This is just my assumption for the difference between the two. But we actually really don't know because these trackers don't tell us how they're doing that. So then you have Fitbit, who is including active calories and BMR calories within your workout that is tracking. Now, if you were to add the Fitbit calories back in, and MyFitnessPal was adding those to how many you could eat per day, not only are you double counting your active calories, but you're also double counting BMR calories. And so adding your activity as far as how many calories you've burned back into your day, chasing that moving target, everything that we've already talked about, is just like a recipe for disaster. And this could potentially be contributing to the fact that, like, according to the numbers, you should be in a calorie deficit, but you just can't seem to lose the weight. The more like complexity you add, the more likely it is that you are going to be way off. Like, no step along the process is meant to be perfectly accurate, even though there might be claims that it's accurate. And so the more steps you add in the process, you're just adding on inaccuracy on inaccuracy on inaccuracy. So I talk about it in the calorie deficit video, I believe, but you should just pick a very simple way to figure out where your calories are at right now. Use that as a baseline and then go from there. And then from then on, listen to your body and how it's reacting to whatever it is you're doing to try to achieve weight loss. Again, just check out my whole calories playlist if you want more information about like how to effectively calculate your calories, how you should think about it, how a calorie deficit can play into all of this, what it even means. I talk about that a lot in other videos. I have one more thing that is messing up your weight loss journey when it comes to these fitness trackers before we talk about how to actually use them in a healthy way and an effective way to help with weight loss, and that is obsession. I pre-ordered the very first Fitbit that ever came out. I was either in high school or college, like senior in high school, early years in college. I can't remember. I graduated high school in 2012. So I have had like a fitness tracker from that point up until 2019 when I went cliff jumping and was wearing it. And obviously the water pressure from plummeting into the water broke it. And then I never got a new one up until a month ago. So I know what it's like. There was a point back in the day, I'm making sure that I'm doing it different this time around, where I would like trust the numbers and the data more than like how I actually felt, or like more than myself. So like if Fitbit, like if I woke up feeling rested, but the app said that I got really bad sleep, it was like, oh, well, I guess I feel like crap today. Like completely ignoring how I felt versus what the numbers were saying. And obsession and needing to be perfect all the time is very common when people are trying to lose weight. In my weight loss course, Try to True Weight Loss for You, if you're interested in learning about it or getting the free training that I give to everyone who wants to learn about it, then you can use the link that's in the description and pinned in the comments. Would absolutely love to have you. But a common theme amongst my students is that I have to just hammer in their heads that like you do not need to be perfect, and you have to let go of that idea of needing to be perfect if you're going to be successful. You have to. And I think what fitness trackers can do is like exacerbate that and like make it worse, because now you have all of this extra data, like your steps, your calories, flights of stairs that you've gone up, your sleep, your heart rate. Like there's so many different things that you now have the opportunity to obsess over. So when I first got this, I noticed that every single morning, the second I would open my eyeballs, I was opening the app to see like how I slept before I could even figure out how I was feeling. And I'll go over this like in the comparison video, but I got this more for health reasons than for fitness related reasons. But I found myself falling into those same patterns that I used to have when I had a Fitbit years ago. And so this morning, I kind of forgot to check when I first woke up. And even when I did, I forgot to check all of the metrics that I personally care about and are the reasons that I got this. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like I want that data to be there, but I want it to be there so that I can measure my health progress long term, not day to day. It's like checking your fitness metrics or whatever metrics for your fitness tracker every single day is like weighing yourself every single day. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that. You just have to look at it in the right context. And the reason that I think weighing yourself every day is much more useful than like checking these stats every single day is because your weight isn't automatically being tracked. Like you have to actually actively track it. And all you're doing if you are weighing daily is taking that piece of data and storing it, not using it to make decisions for that day. You're storing it so that when you go to actually analyze your progress, you have this big picture of data to like help you see what's going on. And so that's the reason that I got this, is so that I can have this automatically tracking all of the data, and I can then zoom out and be like, okay, this is what's been happening. I'm either improving, staying the same, or getting worse. I can analyze my habits and like figure out what's going on. So that brings me to the right way to use a fitness tracker for your weight loss journey and kind of just in general. So you want to use this as like all the data that you get from a fitness tracker as like a baseline, and just aim for improvement, not hitting an exact number. So I talked about this in my scale weight video, or like how to use the scale and all that stuff. I reviewed a couple different scales. I purchased access to consumer reports where they actually purchase products and test them and compare them against others in the same category. So this consumer report had like 10 different body weight scales on it, and they compared them for accuracy. I can't remember all the different categories. I'm sure I talk about it in that video. And I also looked at body fat calculator scales. So scales that not only tracked your weight, but calculated your body fat percentage as well. And all of them were like absolute garbage at accurately calculating your body fat percentage. But what it did acknowledge that they were good at is measuring a change. So even if the number itself isn't perfectly accurate, it is going to show you that something is changing, and that alone can be valuable even if the numbers themselves aren't perfectly accurate. So that's how I look at something like this. Do I think that the numbers are perfectly accurate? Would I bet any money that any number that this thing gives me is correct? I would not. But what it can do is help show you changes. So if I burned more calories that day than a different day, then I know I was more active that day. I can't 100% say like how many more calories I burned that day, but I can see that like something I did that day helped me burn more calories. Steps as well. Same concept, like, oh, I beat my usual average step amount. And so I don't necessarily recommend like having an exact number that you want to hit, but it might be okay if you know that it's not actually that number. So like, let's say my goal is to like walk 10K steps a day, because that's more than my average. Like right now, my average is around like 8,000 steps a day. So if I had the goal of hitting 10, then I would know that I was improving, even though I probably wasn't actually walking 8,000 before, and I probably wasn't actually walking 10,000. Now I'm just measuring an improvement. You could also maybe use this for your resting heart rate, something I'm looking at for health reasons. Sleep, something I'm also looking at for health reasons. Like, I know that none of those numbers are actually accurate, but if I can see that I'm now getting 8 hours of sleep per night instead of 7, my resting heart rate is decreasing overnight while I'm sleeping, like the trend overall, then that tells me that like maybe I'm doing something that is helping me. Because that's how I think that you should approach your weight loss journey in general. You know, I talked about it in the How to Finally Lose Weight in 2022 video, that like habits are important, but you don't want to just all of a sudden expect that you're going to do every single habit perfectly right from the beginning. You want to slowly introduce habits, and also the habits that you do introduce, you want to approach them slowly. So if your goal, we talked about this in that video, if your goal is to drink a gallon of water a day and you currently drink like 32 ounces, maybe your next goal is just doubling that at 64. Or maybe that's even too much for you in the beginning and you just want to add like 16 more ounces to that goal. I'm literally getting a phone call. Spam risk. Boop. So I guess rather than the exact metrics or obsessing over the data, I think that having a fitness tracker can just help you be more aware of your daily habits and your behaviors that can help you lose weight. And that's really the only benefit that I see for something like this when it comes to losing weight, or just tracking any kind of progress in general. So I hope that this was helpful. I would love to know if you have a fitness tracker or any kind of wearable tracker and how you use it, and if it's been positive or negative for you. And look out for the comparison video that will be going up within at least a couple of weeks, I think. And as usual, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe here. You can also follow me on TikTok and on Instagram. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.